For years, experts have warned about a growing mental health crisis among America's young people. But within that trend, there are important signals about racial disparities. Between the years 2018 and 2022, the suicide rate among black youth rose by more than 50%, for the first time surpassing white youth, who saw a 17% decline. Special correspondent Sam Lazaro has this story from Chicago, the first of two reports. It's part of our Race Matters coverage. And a warning, this story discusses topics of suicide that may be difficult for some viewers.
He had a personality that was so contagious. He was so in love with being a good person.
From an early age, Jamal Clay wanted to be helpful.
Some of my fondest memories of Jamal is remember him waking me up early in the morning so we can get to school a little bit before the kids so that he could take the chairs off the desk and help the teachers, prepare for school.
He looked everyone in the eye and gave them his undivided attention. As time went on, however, Rafia Maxie Cole noticed changes in her son. He drew into himself, grew quieter, spent more time alone. Maxie Cole knew Clay was teased at school over his body type. At one point, he tried to take his own life and was rushed to the hospital.
A social worker, mother, traumatized, figuring out which role I have. Well, my 12-year-old is in an isolation unit.
Clay was ultimately released from the hospital, but in the years that followed, his struggles widened.
Many of the struggles that my son dealt with was, of course, being a product of a single parent and not having the closest relationship with his father, trying to be the man of the house because there was no male, and not knowing how that goes. I remember him telling me, I learned how to tie my tie, Ma, by going on YouTube, and that broke my heart.
On May 27, 2020, Jamal Clay died by suicide at the age of 19.
It rocked my whole foundation. Because how do you go to work and one of your main jobs is to keep people safe and you ain't got nobody safe at your home? I have so many questions and he has all the answers.
Between 2015 and 2021, more than 360 black people died by suicide in Chicago. According to a University of Chicago study, the trends in that time largely mirrored what happened nationally. Black residents were the only group to experience significant increases in suicides among both men and women. Meanwhile, suicides decreased among white men and women. There was also a higher proportion of suicide deaths among black teens, and the youngest person to die by suicide was an 8-year-old black boy. Professor Janelle Goodwill co-authored that research at the University of Chicago.
I have had the opportunity to directly ask people, particularly black young adults, why they've considered ending their lives. And one of the primary reasons they've pointed to is feeling hopeless about the future. Hopelessness on an individual level, but also hopelessness on a structural level.
Chicago has been called one of America's most segregated cities, and the disparities are striking. Even though blacks account for fewer than a third of the city's residents, they make up nearly half of those living in poverty, 70% of people in jail, and 3/4 of all victims of gun violence.
How much of those contributing factors, how much of those are at the baseline of the cumulative problem that you have?
Yeah, I think that's a really important word that you use, is cumulative. There's rarely one reason that leads someone to consider suicide. It's not just these individual level factors like stigma, but these larger systemic or structural level factors that are shaping an individual's ability to have access to clean air, to quality schools, to adequate health care. Do they have access to quality foods? And do they have a strong social safety net and support?
In 2019, the Congressional Black Caucus released a report on the national crisis with recommendations for tackling it, including increased funds to research the rise in black youth suicide. The National Institute of Mental Health has since granted millions of dollars for the effort.
As a black person, as a youth, you must have these blinders on, just like a horse in a race. because you can't look left and right. You just have to keep forward.
It's our duty!
Maxie Cole notes her son died just 2 days after George Floyd was murdered by police in Minneapolis. She says living in a society rife with systemic and structural racism is like having a headache that never goes away. And she says a stereotype of endless resilience within the black community can be taxing.
I'm so sick and tired of being black and gotta be strong. Be black and be a strong woman. You can survive. I'm tired. Everything in this house represents struggle. It represents somebody who came from up and under. And I get that. I lean on that. But sometimes you get mad because it feels unfair. It's like my child is dead, but I still gotta be strong, you know? I will never see my son do those things.
After her son's death, Maxie Cole created an organization, Soul Survivors of Chicago. She advocates for suicide prevention and mental health awareness, hoping to tackle what she sees as enduring stigma in the community.
Sure.
Soul Survivors also provide support for people of color who've lost loved ones to suicide.
Welcome to the show. Breaking the Silence, provided by Soul Survivors of Chicago.
Maxie Cole hosts a public access talk show where she speaks to guests about mental health.
You can see my life and what I'm doing with it to normalize the conversation about this happening and what happens when this happens and what we feel. I take on the charge and wave the flag. Does it hurt? Hell yes. Do I like it? Not always. But I'm here to say I will stand in that place so that you don't have to imagine.
Earlier this year, on an episode of Breaking the Silence, Maxie Cole interviewed Noah Boynton, a 17-year-old from Chicago's South Side. Boynton spoke about his own mental health struggles and the help he eventually received. Tomorrow night, we will share Noah Boynton's story and explore how a shortage of mental health providers is exacerbating this crisis. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Sam Lazaro in Chicago.
And Fred's reporting is a partnership with the Undertold Stories Project at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota.
Good morning. Today is Thursday. It's August the 8th. The year is 2024. It is a hot, scorching summer outside. I was about to go outside and do a video. Everybody keeps saying, do something with this beard. I'm letting it grow out a little bit because I'm going to take a little vacation. So I'm going to go to the barber after it grows out and then have him shape it up. So I'm just letting it grow before I go on my vacation, wherever that vacation might be. Who knows? Anyway, I've known about the high suicide rate for black men, black boys, for black teens for a while now. And every time I have this discussion with somebody, that people say, oh, don't believe what you read in the internet. They making this up. The news media is not true. And they come up with all these lies and excuses to downplay a serious matter that is happening with young black boys committing suicide. It's almost like, for some reason, I don't know why black people remain in such denial about so much stuff that impacts our community. I guess if we feel like if we deny it exists, ignore it exists, and just pretend it don't exist, it'll go away. But it gets worse. One thing that struck me in the research I was doing, this is a particular story I've been wanting to do for a while. And I was researching the videos and researching the stuff. One thing that stood out to me was the number of young black boys who committed suicide came from households ran by single black women. I thought that was kind of odd. The numbers are just outrageously high from households where black women are running the households. These young men are committing suicides. Why? Who knows? I think a lot of it has to do. There's just a lot of issues in black society right now that we have ignored for years. Mental health being at the number one at the top of the list. number uno. However, every time I have a conversation with some of my clients who range in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and they get to talking about their father that they didn't know, they become angry, mad, like, he never did nothing for me. I never knew that nigga wasn't shit. They become pissed. And I didn't have that experience with my father. So a lack of a father being in the household, we know it creates some issues. But I really do think that growing up in a home where you only have one parent, a black mother, I'm saying this because we black folks, I ain't white sitting over here, so I'm mainly focused on our community. I think it does have I think it can have a negative impact on children's, boys, especially their mental behavior. That's why we see so many shootings and killings and so much violence in our communities. And I don't think we can ignore that too much longer. The more we ignore it, the more we pretend it doesn't exist. In this day and age, I cannot figure out for the life for me why any mother, black mother, would want to go out, get pregnant, and have a child on her own. I don't get it. So much negativity. The evidence is in front of us. We see it in our communities. We look at it every day in our communities. And then we go out and do the same thing over and over again. I don't get it. Something seems very weird here. I don't see, if we have not figured out that this is part of the problem, having these children grow up in homes without a daddy who ain't nowhere to be found, not actively involved in their lives at all. And I'm gonna say this, and I know some of y'all gonna get mad, but these black women who do this are some of the most selfish people on planet Earth. They're so selfish because all they think about is I want a baby. They don't think about this child has to live in this world. I have to send my child into this world to live as a human being, and they don't have the right foundation. Children should have a father in their home or a male figure in there. You got generations now of boys, men who've grown up in households where they never had an uncle, a grandfather, a father. They don't know anything about the male figure other than men that they might have bumped into on the street. My friend, I almost said his name, he grew up in Alabama. He's the only child. His mother's she's the only child. But he has tons of brothers and sisters by his father who had always got knocked up always got these women pregnant. He never really knew his father. Never knew his father. He can't stand a man. Man, it's so hard to unpack stuff with him. And this is somebody that I really, really like. We good friends. We've been friends for years. But we get into it so bad, y'all. We get into it so bad that sometimes I almost want to choke the shit out of it. We have almost had physical confrontations about his behavior, how his mother, just stuff. And he's half my age. And I've had to show him, you got to respect me. I'm your elder. And he comes around and I'm like, dude, you have really not learned this as a child. And he has problem after problem after problem after problem after problem after problem because he didn't grow up in a household like I did having a father. It made a huge difference for me. I can control my emotions a whole lot better than he can. And I'm willing to listen to people. He don't. And I find that younger people who grow up in these households ran by a single, the home that he grew up on, he only knew his mother and grandmother. I don't know if he knew his grandfather. I need to ask him that. But y'all, we have got into there have been times I've had to block him because I can't deal with the foolishness. Then a week or two later, he come knocking at the door. I want to talk to you. I said, okay, you keep crossing boundaries with me, and I'm trying to help you, but you keep, and that's why you end up blocked. Y'all, I'll just be honest with y'all. I've dealt with a lot of black guys, and they're so difficult to deal with. And And I'm not trying, I wouldn't say I'm a mentor, I couldn't say that, but I'm just trying to push people in the right direction, just like I had people push me in the right direction. But the difference is, I shut my fucking mouth and listened. And took good advice. I didn't argue back and forth with these people. But anyway, if we continue to breed, and the only way, well, the way I can say it, Johnny, we're breeding poverty, we're breeding depression, we're breeding despair, we're breeding youth into this world, and they don't know how to deal with it, and it's getting worse. The suicide rate is going sky high. We're not dealing with mental health issues, and we damn sure cannot pray none of this shit away. That's another thing. The young men that come around here that very religious. Very religious. And nothing about that damn Jesus mess, because you grew up in a household with a mother and grandmother who pumped this mess into his head. See, my father was not a religious person. That's where the control of me and religion comes in, because see, I've never subscribed to religion. I knew the religion was fake when I was a little kid. I just knew it was fake. I was like, okay, this is some fake ass mess. My mother was into this Jehovah's Witness mess. This is fake. I knew this when I was a little kid. I was like, okay, this is fake. My father was not a religious person at all. My father knew we had to take care of bills and stuff. There's a direct positive result of having a male figure in the home with your child. You women need to stop this bullshit. If you're not married, no intentions on getting married, don't get pregnant by that nigga you fucking. This don't make no sense. We have got to stop this. This is why these numbers are skyrocketing, these boys' suicide rates. No male figure nowhere to be found. No guidance, no help. And in many instances, these women really probably shouldn't even be mothers. Some of these women are just not equipped. They're just not equipped, mentally, physically, or financially. That plays a role in this. But I know you all gonna do what y'all want to do because my mama did it and her mama did it. And yeah, it's just like, when do we end this generations of insanity? When I watched my sisters have those kids, I was just like, oh, why? Why y'all having children when you barely got a place to live, barely have a place to sleep? And they didn't want, you couldn't tell these women nothing. Then their kids did it. If we want to change our destiny here in Black America, we've got to start changing how we create life in this country. Creating life under terrible circumstances ain't a good idea. We have to change the way we make and create life. It has to be changed. The thought process has to change. I personally never wanted any children. I didn't. I saw so many people struggling. I saw my parents struggling. And I said, I don't want to live my life like this. I just didn't. I don't want to struggle forever. I'm the only one in my immediate family who's not struggling, but I have no kids over here. I have 2 Cocker Spaniels. They downstairs in their cage because I let them run around here all night. Last night they ran around here. I went to the grocery store. Side note, I went to the grocery store and I was going to pick up a few things at the grocery store, and I saw this chicken on sale at Kroger. I said, well, what these $5 family packs come from? They had $5 big family packs of chicken thighs and legs. I said, look at this chicken for $5. I said, okay. And I saw people snatching it up. I ran over there and grabbed me up something too. $5. I said, grab me. So I got home and I cooked the chicken. I said, well, shit, you know what? I'm going to cook this chicken tonight. So last night I got on in, turned on the grill, put my charcoal on there, seasoned that chicken up, and cooked. I cooked all that chicken. That chicken was delicious too. So that's why I was up late last night grilling chicken. I was chicken was on sale. People talking about some prices high. You better run up to Kroger. I got a good old deal. They do. Now I went back there. I called a friend of mine. I said, they got the chicken for $5 a pack. He lived around the corner from me. He said, go back there and give me some of it. I went back there. Chicken was gone. I said, boy. I said, I didn't even see this sale coming. I need to start subscribing to Kroger sale stuff because that was a good damn deal. These were big family packs of chicken, $5 each. For $10, you got all this chicken. I put some in my freezer. I should have just grilled all of it. But I grilled 2 of the packs. The chicken, they were just the chicken thighs and the. I didn't see the wings, but I don't know. I don't think they had the wings for $5. Wings tend to be a little bit more expensive. But by the time I got there late in the afternoon, all that chicken I was getting the remnants of it. I was like, damn, man, I wish I missed that sale. Normally, Kroger, if you put your email in there and update everything, you'll get the flyer in your thing. Anyway, I was up. So the little dogs was running around last night, let them eat a few chicken bones. Let them gnaw on them out there, eat some chicken. Yeah, but there's a second video to this PBS report. I'm going to post it too. I mean, I don't think we're tackling mental health issues properly in the black community. I never forget going out there to that crazy man, Bishop Eddie Long's church, and sitting there in that audience where he said, you don't need a doctor, you don't need a psychiatrist, you don't need no medicine, you just need this. He held up this thimble grape juice talking about the blood of Jesus. And I sat there thinking, what does nigga just say? Everybody, yeah. I'm looking around here like, are these people insane? This man just said you don't need a doctor, you don't need medicine, you don't need a psychiatrist, you just need this thimble of Welch grape juice. Niggas are insane. That nigga ended up dying of AIDS. Dead and gone. We have got to start tackling mental health issues the correct way. Through psychiatric help, mental health therapy, medications if possible, dealing with it on a regular basis, even at a young age. And recognizing the signs of depression. Recognizing that something's not right. I've had some issues in my life, but I've never really dealt with depression. I've never had depression. I've dealt with anxiety, which is completely different than depression. You know, anxiety means just heightened awareness, as far as I'm concerned. With that, it has its own issues. I got medication for that too. But we cannot ignore depression, schizophrenia, all these different mental health issues that have an impact on our youth today. And peer pressure is a beast out there. And y'all, these cell phones, ooh, gosh. We tear each other apart. Sometimes, even me at 54 years of age, I log into Facebook and I start reading and post. I say, okay, I got to get out of here today. This ain't working. Some of the stuff I see on Facebook just ain't working for me. At 54 years of age, I'm like, okay, I don't want to spend my day dwelling in this environment. The only reason why I use social media, Facebook and Instagram, is to promote. I was doing personal training, which I don't do much of anymore, and just sell supplements. So for me, social media, and I build an audience for my YouTube channel. For me, social media has always been like everything money. That's what I saw. First time I logged on Facebook, I said, oh, look at all these eyeballs. I can make some money off of this. That's why I started promote my personal training back over a decade ago. 2008, 2009, when the economy tanked and I was building and renovating houses, I had to pivot immediately. And I got a lot of clients through Facebook and Instagram. But mainly Facebook, because I don't remember, I was on Facebook first. I don't remember when Instagram got started. I don't remember. I can't remember. But social media can have a very negative impact. I can see that because it's just tough out there for social media, for people, especially young kids who haven't, we have to understand that a male's brain doesn't really mature till he's about 24, 25 years of age, maybe later. And these are teenagers that are 13, 14, 15, 16, oh goodness, and younger, who are committing suicide, skyrocketing. But it's not being discussed in our communities. Nobody's saying anything. Maybe they don't even know. Maybe we won't acknowledge it. I think we live in denial about a lot of stuff. The denial is the tough part. We deny that this is real. When we see somebody has hung themselves on a tree in Piedmont Park, they say, oh no, they didn't do it. Some white folks strung them to a tree. They didn't do that themselves. I'm like, what? Are you for real? We don't want to acknowledge the truth. We don't understand that people that we have this image of having these strong black men who are going to take out and tackle the world. No, everybody ain't that strong. And a lot of people have some problems that, I've had friends commit suicide over the years. Quite a few younger people. Before I turned 30 years of age, I had quite a few friends start to commit suicide. And I always sit back and say, well, what happened? You next time someone's committed suicide, and you're like, what? We didn't have social media back then, so you'd be word of mouth. Sometimes you wouldn't hear about a person's death for weeks, months, and you say, what happened? Social media now, we can see it more quicker. A picture pop up, and I say, wow, that boy committed suicide. So we cannot ignore this any longer. We have to understand that there's something going on in our communities, and we have to take action. Action. And it starts in the womb before this baby is even born into this world. What environment are we bringing children into? What is this baby coming home to? Chaos, confusion, poverty. What's happening at home? Who would want to bring a child into those circumstances? But it's happening right as we speak. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take these dogs out. I'm going to post the second part to that video because I'm going to try to see some blood to hear y'all thoughts and opinions on this mess. I think it's something that's very sad. I think this is a very important subject matter that needs to be discussed. Far too many young black kids, young black males are committing suicide at high rates, and it's being ignored, child. And we just can't ignore this anymore. This has to be discussed on a higher level to get some type of clarity and understanding and prevent this from happening. Today is Thursday, August 8th. The year is 2024. I'm out of here, and I'll speak to you all later. And I'll post the second part of that video and some more commentary later on this afternoon.